The Los Angeles Lakers just pulled off what is literally the sneakiest, lowest-risk move of the entire NBA free agency, and we gotta talk about it right now. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're breaking down the breaking news that veteran center Kevon Looney is heading to LA on a one-year deal. Look, on the surface, you might think, oh, just some standard roster filler. But digging into the intel from The Athletic and Hoops rumors, this maneuver has the potential to be an absolute game-changer for Los Angeles.
To really get why this matters, we have to settle one huge, polarizing debate. Is Kevon Looney an absolute steal for LA, or is the guy completely washed? That's the question lighting up the basketball world right now. On one hand, half the fans are panicking because he barely played last year. But on the other hand, there's this growing whisper that the Lakers just snagged a high IQ championship piece for like absolute pennies. So let's look at the facts.
First, let's hear out the skeptics. The ones pointing straight to his recent stint in a New Orleans Pelicans jersey. Just last summer, Looney inked a 2-year, $16 million deal after leaving Golden State. But man, things in New Orleans did not go as planned. He ended up playing a super limited role, looked a bit disconnected, and honestly, that fresh memory is exactly why so many people are currently hitting the panic button.
And I get it, right? Just look at where this washed narrative is coming from. Across just 21 total games and only 8 starts, Looney put up a measly 2.8 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 1.6 assists in under 15 minutes a night. If you're just doing a quick box score check, you see a guy averaging under 3 points a game, and you immediately assume, yeah, his tank is totally empty. The critics are completely fixated on these abysmal numbers.
But hold on. Context is literally everything here. Why was he glued to the bench? Well, as Hoops rumors reported, the Pelicans are obviously a rebuilding team. They made a conscious organizational choice to feed minutes to their young guys at the center position, specifically Derek Queen and Yves Missy. Because they fully committed to that youth movement, they eventually declined Looney's $8 million team option for the 2026-27 season. So it's not that Looney forgot how to hoop, he just simply didn't fit the timeline of a rebuilding franchise. Which brings us to a massive, hard pivot in our evaluation. The number 3. Let's not let recency bias blind us here, okay? Because this number represents something that a random 21-game stretch in New Orleans simply can't measure. It's the ultimate pedigree in professional basketball, and it completely shatters the idea that he doesn't know how to contribute to winning. We have to look at his entire decade with the Golden State Warriors from 2015 to 2025. During that legendary run, this man became a 3-time NBA champ, 2017, 2018, and 2022. He was absolutely vital to a historic dynasty. His value isn't about dropping 20 points a night. It's about being an elite offensive rebounder, setting bone-crushing screens, and being an incredibly positive glue guy in the locker room. He's a high IQ player who does all the gritty stuff that lets superstars shine.
And here is the kicker that everyone seems to forget. Kevon Looney is still only 30 years old. I know, right? Since he was drafted 30th overall way back in 2015 out of UCLA, where, fun fact, he actually led all college freshmen nationally with 15 double-doubles. It feels like he's been around forever. But physically, chronologically, he is not aging out of his prime. He's got plenty of miles left for a team that actually needs his specific veteran skill set.
Speaking of needing that skill set, let's zoom out and look at what LA is doing with their front court right now. The Lakers are making some massive moves this offseason. Hoops rumors details that DeAndre Ayton is being traded out to Washington, which clears the deck for the club to bring in Walker Kessler. Kessler is being positioned as the starting center for the present and the future in LA. That is a massive philosophical shift for the front office. So where does our guy Looney fit into this whole puzzle? Perfectly. Think about this. Projected rotation. You've got your young defensive anchor in Kessler starting, and Looney slides in flawlessly as his primary veteran backup. Toss in Sandro Kashilavashvili, who the Lakers plan to play mostly at the 4, and suddenly LA has a completely revamped, dynamic front court. Looney is that battle-tested insurance policy off the bench who doesn't demand the spotlight. But wait, it actually gets better, because we haven't even talked about the absolute best part of this deal yet. $3.9 million. That is the financial reality of this one-year agreement, confirmed by his agent Todd Ramazar. In an era where backup bigs are getting absolutely massive bags in free agency, landing a proven commodity for under $4 million is practically unheard of. The financial gymnastics here make this a total masterclass by the Lakers front office. Let's break down the cap mechanics real quick. Looney earns roughly $3.88 million, but the actual cap hit for LA is only about $2.45 million. Plus, because he's coming in on the minimum salary exception, it requires zero cap room, none.
the Lakers preserve all their available cap space to finalize other key additions, like Quentin Grimes. It's the literal definition of low risk, high reward. And look, if you still have any doubts about his value, just look at who else wanted him. The second Looney hit unrestricted free agency, he sparked a bidding war among serious playoff contenders. Both the Knicks and the Celtics had real interest in signing him as a low-cost backup. New York eventually pivoted to Andre Drummond, and Boston opened their wallets for Mitchell Robinson. But the fact that Eastern Conference powerhouses were knocking proves the rest of the league knows exactly what Looney brings to the table. So we arrive back at our main question. Now that you've got the whole picture, from the context of his quiet year in New Orleans to the championship pedigree, down to the absolute bargain of a contract, what's the verdict? Is Kevon Looney the missing high IQ piece that saves the Lakers' bench rotation, or did the Pelicans let him walk for a reason? I want you to head down to the comments right now and tell me, steal or washed? I'll be reading through your takes. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you in the next one.